747, one of the most famous aircraft in the world, it's often called the Queen of the Skies. The first 747 was delivered in 1970 to Pan America. 747 produced over 2,000 products, and it is a symbol of an era in aviation history. 747 has 100, 200, 300, 400, and 8, 5 main models. Nowadays, many countries still use the 747 as their Air Force One. In this video, I will introduce about the Air Force One in China and how the Chinese government has a long story with 747. Part 1. What before? The story starts from the end of the 1970s. China and US established formal diplomatic relations, which marked the beginning trade between the two countries, and one of the very important trade was aircraft. Before that time, the government jet of China was the Ilyushin Il-62M, which is a 4-engine aircraft and built in the Soviet Union. And at the end of 1970s, they changed it into more modern and comfortable 707. Although Ilyushin 62 and 707 is good aircraft, but the problem is the distance of the aircraft can fly is very limited. Also, the stable of Ilyushin 62 have a lot of problem. At the period of 1980s, China established formal diplomatic with Western country, so the government need a jet can fly in longer distance. When Chinese government choose their plane, there are 4 types of aircraft can consider: 747, DC-10, Airbus A300, and 767. The 767 and the A300 are both 2-engine aircraft. At that time, a 4-engine aircraft seemed more stable and safe, because if one engine had a problem, the other 3 can provide enough power. Also, the ETOPS rule for 2-engine aircraft means that Boeing 767 could not fly over the Pacific Ocean. The DC-10 is already famous, but it's famous for its poor safety record. It was involved in more than 7 air accidents that killed more than 200 people. So in the end, the Chinese government chose the 747. Second part, the 550-year with 747s. Before we talk about the 747, I will introduce an interesting story. Many people ask why China used a commercial plane change into the VIP, and the story will answer your question. In 2002, the ETOPS rule was extended to 240 minutes, meaning that 767 and 777 were now able to fly over the Pacific Ocean. Therefore, the Chinese government purchased a Boeing 767 BBJ, registration Bravo 4025, for the Air Force One. However, when Boeing delivered the plane, the Chinese discovered the CIA had installed 29 microphones in various locations on the aircraft. After this incident, China decided to continue use commercial 740-400 as their Air Force One. The Boeing 747 in China began in 1980s, the CAAC bought 5 Boeing 747 SP. The aircraft soon flew as the flight number CA981, Beijing to Shanghai to Los Angeles to New York. Soon after 2 years, CAAC bought the Boeing 747-200 Combi, which has more seats and could carry more cargoes. And at that time, the Boeing 747 first entered the fleet of government jet. In 1988, the CAAC was divided into 6 airlines, and all the 747s went to Air China, including the government jet. That was the time when Air China started to operate the government flights. In the last decade of the 20th century, Air China bought 10 Boeing 747-400s. These aircraft have more seats, a more modern cockpit, a greater flight range, and powerful engine. The Boeing 747-400 with registration number Bravo 2472, bought in 2002, became the Air Force One for the President of China. Based on the picture and data from media and government news, we know that they removed some seats in Bravo 2472, added a meeting room, bedroom, and safe room on the aircraft, and reinforced the structure of aircraft. Bravo 2472 is now 22 years old, and although it has exited the government jet fleet, it still occasionally borrows for other government purposes. For instance, in 2018, the chairman of North Korea borrowed 2447 to fly to Singapore to meet Donald Trump and others. In the Part 3, Now and the Future. In nowadays, the Air China already upgrade their Boeing 747 into the Boeing 747-8. They bought seven 747-8 in the 2010, and the plane with registration Bravo 2479 has become the Air Force One for Chairman of China. According to some people, this aircraft now even has an anti-missile system, making it similar secure as the Air Force One in the US. Bravo 2479 is still the government jet for President Xi of China. Nowadays, it's still the Air Force One for China. It carried the Chairman Xi to a lot of countries on diplomatic travel. In the news before, we see the aircraft carrying Xi to Siberia with the Bravo 2479. What does the future look like for 747 in China? My prediction of Boeing 747 government jets used in the future will still until 2027 to 2030. After that, people predict more possible change to a Boeing 770X. China has more than 20 770X order and might also change order, and they also might change to the C2929 produced and built by China themselves.